Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC Show.
Good day, ladies and gents. I'm Emilio A. Colon.
And I am Marcus Mack, and this is the EAC Show coming to you from sunny South Florida. We are on the 68th episode of Sports News Greatness, Emilio and myself. Sports News Greatness, ladies and gentlemen, Emilio and myself. How you feeling today, Emilio?
Good, Marcus Mack, episode 68. How was your weekend, Marcus?
It was great, man. Very eventful. Very eventful. I probably got more to say about my day today than my weekend. Today it was a pretty busy day, but very enlightening. I'm saying very heavy. They say heavy is the head that wears the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But I'm still here. I'm here. We working.
Marcus, I know you saw my post on the EAC Show social media page on how excited I got that baseball was back. I went ape shit. I was so happy, and we're not even really at opening day. Opening day is still later this week. I was just so glad to see baseball come back. We had some UFC fights. We had some soccer that went on. I know you saw Shorty almost break Shorty's kneecap.
Yeah. I peeped that. Yo, you know the first thing I thought to myself? I am not dating a UFC fighter. Not happening. It's not happening. They are relentless.
Could you imagine if you treat her wrong and she just literally takes you in the bed and just takes your knee going in the other direction?
Bro, listen, and what's so crazy is I'm not even afraid of her doing nothing while I'm asleep. I'm afraid she's just going to do it to me in the middle of a conversation. Just manhandle me.
She going to put you in an arm bar, submission, choke you out?
For real. Like, nah, I can't take it. I'm going to have to go give me some lessons or something.
Yeah, but there was a lot of sports that happened over the weekend. I was just ecstatic that baseball is almost back, officially back. MLS was doing good. They did the thing over the weekend.
You know what's crazy? Nah, I didn't mean to cut you, but you know what's so crazy? That a friend of mine is out here from he's down in Florida from New York. And we was at his Airbnb, and he was looking at some old games. And I was like, yeah, man, we got to shoot soon. I'm about to go shoot the podcast. He was like, oh, word, yeah, okay, yeah. He said, and he started talking about sports. He said, yo, bro, you know I do a sports podcast. Yo, the look on his face just went crazy. Yo, look at all these things. I bet on this. I'm like, yo, what did you bet on? He said, man, sports is coming back up. I said, bro, I know. I shoot a sports podcast. He was like, yo, when are you going to start talking about the bets? I need to know the lines. What's the up? What's the lows? What's the over-unders? I said, man, listen, bro, I can't wait till we start with these numbers, man.
Oh, it's coming. You know it's coming. You know I gotta sit there and I gotta put my 2 cents in. Cam has to put his 2 cents in. There's so many people that are gonna put their 2 cents in when it comes to the EAC bets. We can't wait to launch that, Marcus Mack. But over the weekend, like I said, we had a lot of sports that ended up going on. I was glad it actually feels like something is starting to come back. And I know on episode 68, Marcus, we got a couple topics we're going to talk about. We're going to address NBA talk. We're going to talk some NFL talk. We're going to talk about some baseball stuff that I have to make a correction on because I made a big boo-boo in the last episode. Mm-hmm. And then we're just going to talk about something that's horrific. Hopefully he's okay. MotoGP Grand Prix driver ends up getting hurt. And we'll show that at the end of the episode, Marcus.
We got some COVID money left on the table and broken bones to talk about today.
It's definitely a show that's all over the place. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't flow. Like we're literally gonna have to take all these ingredients and make a really, really good soup on this.
And you know what? That's exactly what makes a really good soup. A bunch of different ingredients.
A bunch of different sugar honey iced tea, huh?
Yeah. So
Marcus Mack, start us off with that NBA talk.
Okay, so as of July 13th, there was zero, ladies and gentlemen, zero positive cases for the NBA. There was 346 players that were tested, and they had none come up positive, which is the best news possible. The bubble is effective.
Shout out to the NBA. I think the NBA did a really, really good job of the pre-screening process before you got to the bubble. So, for example, a lot of people don't know this, but they ended up coming in 2 weeks earlier, and then there's a section where they have you test, and then once you pass that area testing, then you end up going to another area, and that area is almost kind of like, quote-unquote, the clean zone. So if you don't pass the test when you first come into the pre-screening part, you stay in that area until you become negative. So if you come to Orlando 2 weeks prior to the season starting and you get tested and you cannot get past that first part, Marcus, you won't enter the clean zone. So that's the reason why they have zero positive coronavirus tests in the bubble, because all of those people have already passed to get into that next phase.
Whereas the first test that they did, which was on July 13th, there was only 2 tests that came back positive. So as of right now, with the next test that they did, which the first one they did 322 players, this one they did 346 players. So, you know, from 2 to 0, it's effective. Whatever they're doing is definitely effective.
But also the NBA had a head start on this because obviously the NBA was the first major league to shut down completely right away once Corona came up. And a lot of guys have the resources to be able to get coronavirus tested beforehand. That's why you got so many guys that aren't at the bubble. They can't make it there yet because they're still positive. So they're going to stay where they are and then eventually end up coming to the bubble, a la Russell Westbrook, Pat Connaughton, a couple other guys that ended up testing positive. They stayed where they're at home, and then when they get those negative tests, they'll come back, they'll come to the bubble, get pre-screened, and then end up in the clean zone.
They're gonna start running scrimmages and everything soon. I believe it should be, today is the 20th, so by the 22nd, they'll be starting to run scrimmages. And, you know, everybody that's clean, they'll be in that safe zone. They're going to start, you know, practicing and getting ready for the season.
Marcus, this is going to be crazy August 1st. There's games all day from first thing in the early morning, early afternoon till late at night. Games nonstop. Yeah,
it's crunch time. We've been waiting for this moment.
Oh, man. And even hockey the same day, too. Hockey ends up being on that day, too. Literally, it's sports. So I think I'm going to have to go buy more TVs just to be able to put all the sports on the TVs.
Imagine how the world feels. Imagine how the whole world feels. I'm telling you, because it's like the anxiety is so crazy because we've been waiting for 3 months up until this point. And now everything is going on all at once. So
the ratings are going to end up being through the roof without question.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So Marcus, you and I both know that you can't take some type of people nowhere. And obviously the NBA players are those some type of people because they literally turned the bubble into a college atmosphere.
Yeah. All kinds of beer pong. All they missing is the girls.
Dude, they're playing games. They literally chugging beers. Like, they taking shotguns and beers, you name it, all day, left and right. They basically turned it into a college frat house down at Walt Disney. They probably got Mickey Mouse drunk, too. Mickey probably over there getting drunk with them without question, because they treated it like it's a college campus without question. Marcus Mack, make sure you plug some of those photos that we ended up sharing on social media on here on this episode.
Yeah, man. They in there having a ball. I mean, what can you do when there's nothing to do but practice? It's almost like on your downtime, you can't be with your family. Can't do nothing. You know what? We're going to hang out, fellas.
Yeah, they definitely hanging out without question, Marcus Mack. And part of that hanging out is also looking good. Obviously, everybody has seen it by now. The NBA has built an NBA barbershop and hired 6 barbers from around the country that were
just like 2K.
Just like 2K. Hand selected by 6 barbers were hand selected to be able to enter the bubble and cut the players' hair and stuff like that. I just feel like Marcus Mack, not for nothing. Congratulations to those barbers. I'm very happy for them. It's really, really big for them. But I just feel like they worried more about personal appearance for a short period of time and didn't really focus on quality of food, because they came and they started complaining about the food they were eating. Well, you negotiated that, so don't get mad. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what you agreed on. You were worried
failed
about players
to negotiate it.
Right. You were worried about a players' lounge and a barbershop to be built in one day so we could look good. Mind you, these guys aren't here that long. They're probably going to be here for like a month and a half, tops. That's it. They literally built a barbershop in one day.
Hey, listen. You ever been somewhere and then you think, oh, shit, I forgot something. That's exactly how the negotiation probably went, when they probably got outside and thought, food.
You know what happened? What happened was they had a budget, most likely. They went through the budget and then they it just slipped their mind that the quality of the food needed to be higher than what it was. And when they got what they got, they were just all like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, it was probably an assumption thing. They probably assumed that the food was going to be grade A, prime 112, know what I mean, type of action.
The food was gonna be what the budget allowed it to be. Not for nothing,
Yeah,
Marcus Mack.
they got high school grade. Yeah, frozen, the stuff that you get from any old 3-star hotel type of anything.
Shout out to John Morant. John Morant was like, man, this food ain't that bad, man. Stop acting like that. I don't need much. I don't need much. Like, let's just play ball.
Who was that said that the living quarters that he's living in now is a lot bigger than the one where he used to live before he got into the
Giannis Antetokounmpo, who said, the Greek freak from the Milwaukee Bucks, the current MVP, said that this is bigger than my house in Greece back in the days. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I want to hear. Forget this spoiled, pompous nonsense. There's so many people. And Jay Williams from ESPN said it best, and shout out to him. He said, you guys are creating bad optics for the NBA by complaining about everything left and right. You're getting coronavirus tested by your employee every employer every day. They're trying to make sure that your well-being and your safety is top-notch. Well, you got millions and millions of people around the country and around the world that don't have access to that stuff, and they still have to go to work. Humble yourself. So I really do appreciate Jay Williams and John Morant sitting in, everybody else that's been a part of it sitting there saying, yo, this ain't really that bad. Stop making a big deal of it.
Yeah, they definitely complaining about crumbs because I think the biggest part of that bubble and the whole situation that they're in right now, the entire NBA, is the bubble and the corona testing and making sure that they're healthy and their family is not going to be affected by the fact that they got to come out and they have to work, which would be an occupational hazard for them to catch something, take it home to the family. That's the biggest part. So they just got to deal with whatever they got to deal with right now.
Marcus, I want to give a big shout out to all of the organizations that have been doing their best. The NHL, the MLS, the MLB, the NBA, NFL is going to end up doing the same thing eventually soon. And we're going to address that in the next segment a little bit, Marcus Mack. They are literally trying to make sure that the well-being of the players is to the highest standard. They're going above and beyond testing. If the test is inconclusive, they pull the person no matter what to make sure, because they don't want no outbreaks. They don't want a stop in the show. They want the product to go on.
Yeah, because somebody's going to have to answer to that. Somebody's going to have to answer for that. If these major league players go to getting sick or anything like that, because there's guidelines. Because the main thing is that this is a global pandemic and people are getting sick. It's like, okay, we want sports, we want to get things back going, and in their respective areas, everyone is doing the best that they can. From the United States, all around the world, including Canada. I believe that would take us right into our next topic. Right now, Toronto.
Hold on. Before we get into that, Marcus, I want to apologize. I got called out. I have to correct myself. I read it wrong. The Canadian dollar is not worth more than the U.S. dollar. I do apologize. I did get called out. I apologize. Canadian dollar is not worth more than the U.S. dollar. I made a mistake on the last episode, so I just want to clarify that. I am wearing my Toronto Blue Jays hat to represent the Toronto Blue Jays, as you're going to get into it, Marcus, as you sip your little sip of yak, because that sip of yak is basically to the Toronto Blue Jays, so are pretty much like homeless right now, correct?
Yeah, they're definitely homeless, man. They're trying to find a new home anywhere else. Obviously, they're going to try to go somewhere close. You're talking about maybe Buffalo, New York, maybe even Pennsylvania, but Toronto isn't. They don't want them there because they don't want the chance of them contracting the virus and bringing it back to Toronto. So it's more than just the sports thing. It's Toronto. Like, it's not just like their stadium. It's not like the people at the stadium are saying, hey, listen, you can't do this here. It's Toronto saying, hey, listen, we don't want you guys here. We don't want nobody playing here. You guys got to find somewhere else to play. So I guess right now they're looking at Pittsburgh. I was thinking somewhere around like Buffalo, but tell them about that Buffalo. We was talking about that in the pre-show.
Right. So basically what's happening is that Buffalo is their minor league affiliate stadium, and the minor league affiliate stadium is inadequate with lighting and it's also inadequate with just weight training and facility stuff that would be needed for a major league club to be able to play in. It sucks. It really does suck. I mean, it's understandable because we are talking about a team that is based actually outside of the country. The Toronto Blue Jays are the only Major League Baseball team that is in Canada. Shout out to them because they represent that team. They love the hell out of that team. That whole country comes out and supports the Toronto Blue Jays all the way from Toronto all the way to Montreal and Vancouver. They support the Toronto Blue Jays because they represent the whole country. So it's kind of sad, but I think that Canada's doing what's best for all of the people, not just a specific amount of people.
Right.
So
that's exactly what it is. They're not doing the best for sports. They're doing the best for the people. And, you know, I can't be mad at that.
Now, mind you, we did the numbers, and obviously the numbers are relatively low in Canada. Canada did an amazing job of maintaining this coronavirus pandemic. They just don't want no outbreaks, so this is understandable. But now the players are in limbo because now the players are sitting there and they're trying to figure out, okay, where am I gonna stay? Where am I gonna live for the next, 3 months or so? Because that's an extremely important situation, Marcus. Like we talked about, a lot of those guys end up getting leases out in Toronto for half the year, and now you got to up and change and find now leases to wherever it's in Buffalo or leases to where it's in, Pittsburgh or whatever it may be, or where you're gonna play.
They're gonna have to find something soon because I believe everything starts Friday, Thursday?
Yeah,
right?
It starts really soon. I mean, they'll figure it out. Major League Baseball will do everything in their power. Major League Baseball has all the power. They'll accommodate Toronto Blue Jays to the fullest extent. Major League Baseball is old money, so they'll look out for their own without question.
I mean, where will they do their home games? That's something they're gonna have to figure out.
So basically,
I believe
what they
they're
would
set.
do, Marcus, that's a great question. What they would do their home games is in the stadium, whatever stadium they pick. So if they play in Pittsburgh, when Pittsburgh goes on the road, then they would play at home.
Yeah.
You understand?
Well, I mean, I believe they play Washington for their first home game. So they're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have to figure that out by then. I'm quite sure they will. And like you said, I'm quite sure that there's plenty of places right here in the US of A that would be happy to accommodate them.
And not for nothing, Marcus, the people of the EAC show, the followers have spoken. You and Vladimir Guerrero are related, without question. Yo, there wasn't one no. There was not one. Out of the vote poll that I put up, there was not one no that you and Vladimir Guerrero are related.
Well, que hola, paisa.
Well, this part of the show is going to be brought to you by our sponsor, ElCubanoSandwichShop.com. Use the promo code EAC and receive discounts on online pickups or delivery orders. Enjoy a cafe con leche or the natural pre-workout shot of that Cuban coffee to start your day. The daily lunch specials and that steak sandwich is next level. Once again, use the promo code EAC. That's ElCubanoSandwichShop.com or 954-906-5110. Remember, use the promo code EAC, and that's El Cubano Sandwich Shop in Coral Springs. Marcus Mack, episode 68. Still got a little bit of stuff to talk about. We still got 2 more subjects to talk about, Marcus Mack. Let's get into the next subject.
More COVID. So the NFL Players Association, they agree to test daily. Because obviously, like we say over and over and over again, it's not just about the sport, it's about these people and their families, which is most important. And as I guess over the first couple of weeks, they're gonna go from doing it daily to doing it once every other day, once the test positive rating comes down.
So, Marcus Mack, you and I spoke about this a couple episodes ago. There was never going to be any discussions or any types of talk when it came to coming back and playing in the NFL with sport as full contact as football is without COVID testing being every day. So that was a if you weren't talking about testing every day, we're not talking about.
There wasn't nothing to talk about because that was definitely a big thing. I do not see how that is even a conversation.
Say it.
How is it possible that is a conversation that you can possibly say, hey, we don't want to touch each other in football? In American football, you're trying to tell me that it's part of the dialogue that we are not going to have contact? One of the most contact sports?
The thing is, Marcus Mack, is there's a bunch of really, really high-paid idiots in the NFL, and you know, they say and they do dumb stuff. Like, for example, they came out not too recently, Marcus Mack. You and I didn't get a chance to discuss this, but Cam and I did. They came out and they were like, listen, at the end of the games, a lot of players like to swap jerseys, you know, just because they're fans of each other, or whatever it may be. Odell will swap with whoever, you know what I'm saying?
That's the best you could come up with?
And no, I'm gonna tell you, the NFL decided you could play 60 minutes of tackle football and breathe on each other, and you know what, that's okay. But at the end of the game, we're gonna disallow jersey swaps because of coronavirus.
Wait, who said that?
That was the rule that the NFL was coming out with.
That the NFL took to the conference and said that.
Yes.
Shout outs to the NFL for having a Kanye West moment.
Oh.
Is that the best? Yo, listen, I wish I was there, because that's the first thing I would have said. I have a question. Is that the best you could come up with, sir? Like, of all of the possible hazards that can happen with a pandemic and a fully contact sport, is that the best you could come up with? Don't share jerseys. Okay. All right. That's definitely going to stop anything. I definitely won't give this man my socks either. Thanks.
So, Marcus, also the NFL is probably going to end up coming to an agreement with the NFLPA that no preseason games are going to be played this year. They're just going to have like an extended version of training camp, almost in a sense, and just get right into the season. That's something that the players wanted anyway. Any player will sign up and say, they'll raise their hand immediately to be like, hey, I don't want no preseason games. But in all actuality, there are people out there that try to make the team, and their chances of trying to make that team is because of preseason games. So it's not a mass majority of people, but it's some people that end up, you know, making the team because of the preseason games. And this year there just won't be any.
Yeah. I mean, I think the NFL is definitely doing the best that they can, you know, up until this point, and everybody's doing the best that they can. And the most important thing is the players and their families. I can't stress that enough, because even when we spoke to Sean, that was like a big thing. It's like, yo, listen, our families is involved as well. It's it's MLB, but it's the same thing all across the board, because it's all people. You know, what's most important is the families, and I think they're doing a pretty good job, man.
Without question, Marcus Mack. I don't want to jump the gun here. We might have an interview either sometime next week or the week after with another former NFL player. So, you know, we'll definitely have that right here on the EAC show. We'll let you guys know way in advance on our social media platforms and our other podcast shows as well. I just want to get confirmation that we are in talks, but I haven't got the confirmation just yet.
Yeah, well, you guys just stay on the lookout and stay with us here. We definitely grinding. And we bring you guys the best content.
Even in a COVID pandemic situation, Marcus, we still making it happen.
Yeah, that's a fact. Right here on Zoom. Only Lord knows I want to get back in the studio.
So, Marcus, we have to talk about this next topic, which is still related to football. It's basically, we said it earlier this week about how Chris Jones of the defensive tackle of the Kansas City Chiefs ended up getting paid. But the reason why he ended up getting paid is the selflessness of Patrick Mahomes and leaving money on the table for a deal to get done for Chris Jones. And Patrick Mahomes knows how valuable Chris Jones is to that team. And like we said, Patrick Mahomes' deal is not really a $500 million deal. It's only really a guaranteed 140 that has guaranteed mechanisms in it that allow it to go further. So if he's on the team, he's on the team. If he's not on the team, then he can get cut and there's no money that goes to him. But when Patrick Mahomes says, I left money on the table, that means he could have stretched it out and got more guaranteed money, but he chose not to in order for Jones to get his deal to be able to keep the Kansas City Chiefs a team that can win Super Bowls in the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that you can't fault that deal, because we spoke about that. That was a 10-year deal. You know what I'm saying, and we talking about Chris Jones. This is a 4-year deal. So he definitely has one of those short-term deals able to turn over after 4, whereas Mahomes has a 10-year deal where he's guaranteed a certain amount of that, which is probably what, maybe a little bit more than a quarter of that. I think he can.
It's like 140.
Like 140? It's a little bit over a quarter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I'm like, I think both deals are pretty good deals, if you ask me.
Yeah, but Chris Jones' deal most likely is a 2-year deal, and if he's playing really, 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 really well, it'll be a 3-year deal, and then after the 3 years, I think it's done. Mahomes' deal, I'll be shocked if Mahomes sees 8 years out of that deal, because if he's playing extremely well, they're gonna rip up that deal and do a new one within 5 years. And if he's not playing well, they're gonna rip up that deal and they're gonna kick rocks on him. Honestly.
And he has a no trade clause in there.
Yes, he does, but he can get cut. So at the end of the day, don't act like you can't get cut. You ain't that special.
What can you explain exactly what the no trade clause is?
The no trade clause basically means that the Kansas City Chiefs can't pawn him off to another team without his permission. So let's say for some reason there is, like, let's say their relationship just doesn't fit. It's not working out. You know what I'm saying? They could just go to Mahomes and say, listen, we're willing to trade you to the Minnesota Vikings. And Mahomes could be like, nah, I don't want to go to Minnesota. They go, okay, we're going to trade you to the New York Giants. And then Mahomes says, all right, playing in New York is kind of, I could do that. I'll accept that trade. In order to trade Mahomes, you have to get his permission. You can't just ship him anywhere.
Yeah, well, if he's playing good, don't be surprised. He's playing good with minimal injuries. I believe that don't be surprised if they don't drag that contract out.
Well, no, I mean, Mahomes will go right back. His agents will go right back to the organization and tell the organization he's outplaying his contract. He wants to stay here. Let's redo this. And the organization will 100% do it because you're showing your value. You understand? Mm-hmm. So that's why I think after 5 years of that deal, it's either going to get ripped up and done over again, or it's going to get ripped up and he's going to go somewhere else.
NFL, well-known toilet paper deals.
Straight, Charmin, Scott's.
Charmin Ultra.
All of that. You name
Very
it.
strong toilet paper, but toilet paper nonetheless.
All of that. And Marcus Mack, our last topic for the day. On the pre-show, you saw this and you just – I wish I had you recorded for the pre-show because you would – like, I mean, not for nothing. We hope he's fine and he is fine, but when you first saw this video, tell me what you thought. Yeah,
listen, the cover for this video on YouTube is going to be my face like – yeah, so motorcycle Grand Prix driver MARQUEZ, he had like he had an accident. Long story short, it was like a hairpin turn. The I guess the front wheel kind of hit the curb a little bit. He flipped a couple feet into the air. He came out with a broken arm, which, thankfully that was all he came out with. But you got to see this. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you got to see this fall. It was epic. It was epic. I don't mean to laugh, but it was epic.
I'm just glad the guy's okay because when you watch the video, it is brutal.
Yeah, it was definitely brutal. As I said, I'm glad he just came out with a broken arm, man. He should definitely be grateful. You know what I'm saying? 27-year-old guy, man. We talking about. Let me see if I can pull this up here.
That would be a fly skit. That would be a fly skit, Marcus, if we literally just laminated your head on that bike.
Why? Why? Why do I gotta be the guy?
It's just a skit.
Listen, man. I'm 280 pounds, 6 foot 1.
But it's just your head. It's just your head.
I got a heavy head, bro. Can you imagine me on that bike hitting that ground? Oh no, sir. Listen, Marc Marquez can handle it.
On his body.
Marc Marquez can handle it. Not me. I cannot handle that fall, man.
Well, shout out to Marc Marquez. Marc Marquez, we hope you're doing all right. Get well soon. Rest up because you need to be back on that MotoGP bike doing the same crazy sugar honey iced tea that you were doing in the video. That's
a fact. I can't even lie. He's a great rider though. He's definitely a great driver. And that it happens. It happens. It's in that sport. It definitely happens, man. But you know, our prayers go out to him that he has a speedy recovery and he's back on the track.
Marcus Mack, you know the famous saying, man. You ain't a boss until you take a loss.
That's a fact. That's a fact. You got to deal with it, man. You got to deal with it. You got to get through. You got to go through to get through.
Well, guys, this is going to conclude episode 68. I'm Emilio A. Colon. That's Marcus Mack. Make sure you click like, subscribe on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. Guys, stay safe. Safe in your hearts. Shout out to Janaya. Make sure you check us out, episode 68. Marcus Mack, sign us off. Bye, Janaya.
Speculation talk over. Give him your special, your glitter power bag.
Glitter passion!
Oh, sugar honey iced tea. It's the EAC show.